Alex Hormozy with Gym Launch, Charlie Morgan with Easy Grow, Sam Ovens with Consulting.com. All of the people that have made more than 8 figures in the online business space have only 3 things in common. And the thing is, if you actually follow the 3-step framework that all of these people follow that I'm about to show you, you can make fuck you money. The best part about these principles are that they're not necessarily applicable to one niche or one avatar. You can cross-apply them across businesses, across niches, across paradigms, and they're tried and tested to work. With that being said, let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is actually having a high ticket funnel. Now, if you look at anybody in the online business space that, as I mentioned before, is making 8+ figures, they've all done it using a high ticket funnel. What does high ticket actually mean? High ticket means that you're selling something that is worth more than $10,000. Now, obviously, some of these people accept payment plans. Some of these people have monthly options, but usually for LTV, which is the lifetime value of your customer, the ideal money that you want to be getting out of that customer is at least more than $10,000. Now, if we look at all the 3 examples that I've mentioned before, if you look at Charlie Morgan, he basically sells Easy Grow. Now, Easy Grow kind of sounds like a company that helps with erectile dysfunction. But what Easy Grow actually is basically a course platform. Charlie Morgan positions it in a way where he sells different lead generation systems, and he has a crazy guarantee where he says he'll wire you $5,000. I believe he's netting at least $900,000 a month in revenue from this system, and a lot of that is profit because it's a digital product at the end of the day. Now, I believe he charges about $9,000 on the upper end, $9,800 for this Easy Grow program. So this is one thing that he does. So again, it's high ticket. So Alex Hormozy with Gym Launch, actually what he did to grow Gym Launch once he changed its model was he basically used to record ads on behalf of gym owners, and he called it a licensing company. Essentially, he used to just run ads for business owners. But what was better about his model was they used to run the ads themselves, and he would just record the ads, test the ads, and then basically give it out to them. For this, they would pay more than $10,000. They still do pay more than $10,000. And then you have Sam Ovens. Sam Ovens basically had Consulting.com. Now, Consulting.com, Sam Ovens actually sold. He sold the company to Reendorse, who has his own program now, and he basically runs Consulting.com. But while he was running Consulting.com, Sam Ovens essentially had a high-ticket course that he used to sell to consultants, quote unquote. He kind of started the whole trend. But all of these people used to have high ticket funnels, meaning they used to get at least $10,000 or around $10,000 out of each and every single one of their customers over their lifetime. Now, again, some of them might have charged payment plans and they might have had like flexible options or whatnot. But at the end of the day, the LTV that they got was more than $10,000 or at least around $10,000. The second thing that they actually had in common, all of them, was that they ran call funnels. Now, call funnels usually require a skill, which is again being able to sell on the phone, high ticket sales called basically. But if you run a call funnel with a high ticket offer, it can absolutely blow your revenue out of the water. Every single one of the names I mentioned had a call funnel where they basically have the individual book a free strategy session or a free demo call where they'd basically get an idea of what the systems were, so on and so forth. Whatever they called it, whatever fancy way they fucking justified it, it was a call at the end of the day. This call usually lasted between 30 and 45 minutes, and it basically was a high ticket sales call where they'd ask you questions and then at the end of the day convince you to buy this thing. Now, in order for them to be able to convince you to buy their thing, the offer somewhat had to be B2B. So this is another thing that all of these people followed to make 8-figure businesses was that they sold B2B offers. Now, what does B2B mean? So B2B is opposed to B2C. So usually it's B2B or B2C. B2B is business to business. So one business sells to another business. B2C is when a business sells to a consumer. So an example of a B2B business can be Google. Google has certain services that it only sells to businesses. Amazon has certain services that it only sells to businesses. But both of these companies also have a B2C branch. In this B2C branch, what happens? Basically, they sell directly to consumers. So all of these people actually had B2B offers, or in some way, shape, or form, they positioned it as B2B because the easiest way that you can make money in this online business world is by justifying expenses logically. So B2B is a very easy justification for having a high ticket price because you can go based off of ROI. Now, although some of these people kind of sold their programs to people that were just starting out, it doesn't really matter because they position it in some way, shape, or form to have a direct ROI. The service that you want to be able to sell, you want it to have this aspect. You want it to be able to be guaranteeable in some way, shape, or form when it comes to the ROI that you will directly generate for your clients. Charlie Morgan, for example, had a crazy guarantee, still does, where he says, I'll give you $5,000 if you don't get XYZ amount of clients in XYZ amount of days. Now, of course, that's a conditional guarantee, but again, the logicity comes from the ROI. You think that, oh, I can put $10,000 in here because obviously I'm going to make a lot more. The fourth thing that we actually need to get into is lead magnets or free value. So basically, all of these people had one thing in common. It's basically that they all provided either lead magnets or they provided an immense amount of free value. Now, these are kind of interchangeable, but basically what a lead magnet is as the name suggests, it's basically like a magnet for your leads. It's like a free thing that you give away, right? Here's my little magnet drawing here. It's a free thing that you give away to your clients or your prospects or your leads or whatever in exchange for their contact information. Once you actually have their contact information and they actually consume the thing that you gave them, and considering that it's good, they'll actually start trusting you, and then they'll think, oh, this person fulfilled one promise that they had. He might actually fulfill the second promise that he's making, that they will be able to guarantee me or make me a return of a certain amount of money if I buy their high ticket program. Now, according to Alex Hormozi, there's a certain amount of things that are very, very important for a good lead magnet. Number one, it has to be quick. So the value that you get from a lead magnet has to be quick. No 10-hour videos, no 400-page PDFs. It needs to be quick, meaning it's immediate. So it needs to be high value, meaning it should actually generate a tangible result for the clients that you're trying to reach out to, or for the prospects that you're trying to reach out to. It needs to be easy, meaning effortless. And the thing is that these three same attributes also apply to free value. Now, I'll tell you something. Most of the big people that maybe you don't even know about, for example, Jeremy Miner has a sales company called Seventh Level. And that company is worth more than $100 million. And I believe the revenue is almost $100 million. He has an exceptional lead magnet. Basically, he sells to salespeople. And as a lead magnet, he literally has the most important questions that you can ask in a sales call as his lead magnet. He gives it away for free. I've subscribed to it. They're fucking amazing. Again, it's a quick thing. Again, it's not some 400-page PDF. It's high value. It's effortless. And again, it's really something that you would actually use, and it has tangible results. So again, you might never have heard of Jeremy Miner, although a lot of people do know him. But the thing is, if you want to build a really big fucking business, you want to have an exceptional lead magnet. Like, you actually want to have a lead magnet. However, some of these people did not necessarily have a lead magnet, but they had free value. Now, free value basically serves as a way of nurturing your leads. The way you nurture your leads is, again, by making promises to them, micro promises, and fulfilling them. So Charlie Morgan, for example, or even other examples like people like Iman Gadzhi, all these people basically made micro promises in the form of their videos. And by delivering on these promises, by providing value to their leads or the people that were actually their avatars, they were able to nurture them and to build trust with them so that they might actually buy in the future. So yeah, these are basically the high ticket funnels that every single person who's basically above 8 figures used to get there. The second thing we're actually going to discuss, now thing number 2 that we're going to discuss is actually going to be P2P or CFA. So these two are somewhat different concepts, but essentially they lower your cost of acquiring a customer, your CAC, which is a very important term. It's the cost to acquire a customer. They lower it exponentially. So what P2P means, it's not peer-to-peer, unfortunately, for those of you software junkies. It's basically just pay to promote. So, or paid to promote. So basically, the concept here is that you have a negative acquisition cost. You get paid to promote what it is that you're selling. Now, the main way people actually did this was they started their personal brand. So the people that didn't do this, they're getting on that bandwagon now because the most valuable thing in this world today is attention. Ad costs are only going to go up. Your cost of acquiring a customer will never go down because people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So what you want to actually do is you want to have a method of acquisition that you own, or that you where you get paid to promote to those people. So all the people that I've mentioned here either had personal brands, like Charlie Morgan had a personal brand, or they're now building their personal brands. In the case of Sam Ovens, who's no brand, he partnered with Hormozi for his software company Skool because Hormozi does have a personal brand. So that's the power of essentially having a personal brand, is basically get paid to promote. So this is the ability that platforms like TikTok, like Instagram, like YouTube give to you. You can post your content, you can promote your content directly or indirectly, and you can actually get paid to do it. The second thing, if this isn't really your avenue, or you haven't really pursued this, is CFA. So CFA is a much more complex concept if you look at it that way. CFA basically stands for Customer Finance Acquisition. So customer finance acquisition is one of the most powerful things in business at any moment in time. Basically, what it means is that you get the amount of money to acquire your next customer once you close your first one. So again, this works right in hand with selling high ticket. The reason why you're able to see people that have crazy ROAS numbers, if you've ever heard this before, people are saying, I have a 42x ROAS, I have a 100x ROAS, I have a 32x lifetime ROAS. ROAS, for those of you that don't know, is return on ad spend. The way that people are able to get these crazy returns on their ad spend is that they sell high ticket. They sell such expensive shit that when you do the math, it doesn't really make sense how much money they're making for the amount of money they're spending. So this is why you have to sell high ticket, essentially, is because it allows you to start this machine, which is customer financed acquisition. So basically the math that you have to do, or if you don't want to do the math, just charge exponentially high prices and guarantee the ROI. But basically what you want to happen is you want the first person that you acquire to cover the cost of at least the next two people. Now, what this actually does is it triggers this exponential effect, because if it's just one person, this is why the math doesn't work out. If, for example, let's say it cost me $5 to acquire one person. So this person cost me a good $5 to acquire. I want to acquire the next person, so I use the $5, and then essentially I keep doing that again and again and again. I can only get one customer every time. But if I don't make $5 from the customer that cost me $5, so this is the cost, it cost me $5, but instead of making $5, I can make $10. So this is how much I'm making. I'm making $10. What I can essentially do is I can pay for my next two customers. And then if they both make me $10 each, then I can pay for my next two customers, branching out from both of these. And then it basically creates this amoeba effect where your client base can grow exponentially. Now, the important thing to do here is to actually keep your fucking clients, to actually have a good service where people stay in your customer base. Otherwise, once you get more people, like your old revenue base or your old client base will just start leaving. And once they start leaving, like it's basically you chasing your tail. You want them to stay, you want your service to be exceptional, or your product or your software to be exceptional, and you want to meanwhile be able to afford at least two customers for the money that you make from one. The last principle, which is arguably the most important principle, is the principle of focus. Now, this is one that most entrepreneurs get wrong. This is probably the most important one that a lot of people overlook, that nobody really understands. It's the fact that you cannot diversify your attention. Now, of course, diversification is a good principle when it comes to investments, but as an entrepreneur, you'll notice that every single one of the names that I mentioned, Alex Hormozy, Sam Ovens, Charlie Morgan, even other people like Iman Ghazi. No matter who you mention in this online business space, you will see that they are insanely focused. And by the way, I do not mean that in a productivity sense. Of course, that is the case. Of course, these people work like horses. And you'll hear this as a testament from all of them personally. Like they'll tell you that we work like horses. But the focus that I'm talking about is that they are focal in everything. So there's not just one thing where they show focus. It's actually every single thing that you see. Like they're focused no matter where you go. These people will have like the most simple funnels. And they won't be changing their products, they won't be changing their services, they won't be changing everything every few months. And the reason why most people aren't able to scale to 8 figures and above is because they keep changing, because they keep switching. And the switching problem exists for entrepreneurs that are just starting out, it exists for entrepreneurs that are scaling, it exists for entrepreneurs that are already at the 8-figure mark. Is literally the biggest problem to solve in entrepreneurship to this day. It's to stop people from switching, to stop people from getting distracted, whether it's between businesses, like do I start this business or this business, or even within a business, do I run this lead magnet or do I run this lead magnet? All these people have one very good lead magnet. They have one very good service. It's one venture. It's one product. It's one software, one set of modules, one course, whatever you want to call it, one that made them all the money that we're talking about in this video today. One, it's singular. And because it's one, I mean, this is no coincidence, no matter who you look at. Even Steve Jobs says it. I mean, Steve Jobs says that the most successful people say no to almost everything. Warren Buffett says this. He says the difference between successful people and really successful people is that the really successful people say no to basically almost everything. And that means saying no to all the new product suites that you want to implement, saying no to all the new funnels that you want to try out, saying no to all the new ideas, saying no to all the businesses, saying no to all the businesses, saying no to all the partnerships, saying no again and again and again, so that you can actually focus on the one thing that matters most, which is your business. Now, usually another problem that business owners face is that they're usually always focusing on things that don't actually make them money. So they'll be refining their landing page, or they'll be switching something in their modules. Like if your course or if your service is working, if people are liking it, I mean, yes, you can be a perfectionist and that can hinder you, but then you need to choose your path. You're either a perfectionist or you're going to be the guy that scales past 8 figures. But the thing is, you can't be both. You can't be the guy who is distracted, who says, no, I'm just a perfectionist and I like working on that. I'm just so detail oriented. You know, I just love working on these little details. That's my strength as an entrepreneur. You can either be this guy or you can be the guy who scales to 8 figures because he's actually focusing on the shit that makes him money. You got to understand what makes you money and you got to focus on that thing. If you need to scale your ads, scale your damn ads. Don't fix your landing page. Don't fix your modules. Don't fix anything else. Look at what's making you money and crank that. Crank that as much as you can to the point where you can't anymore. And when something breaks once you're doing it, you fix that thing and then you start cranking it again. And you do this ad infinitum. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how you make fuck you money.